Story time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing story time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all reading? I just can't wait to be hearing.
Good morning, and welcome to Story Time. Thank you so much for joining me, friends. I am glad that we're here together. Happy Friday, wherever you are today. I hope that you've had a wonderful start to your day. And of course, I hope that the upcoming weekend is good to you. Thank you so much for joining in today, and glad indeed to be celebrating these amazing books. Amazing heritage to Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month continues here on Storytime, and will continue into next week as well. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Absolutely love it that we're here together. We've had some fantastic books and one more to go this week. Of course, we kicked off this week with a Birthday Fortune. Yeah, the Birthday Fortune. Very fun and funny book, I thought. Loved it. I hope that you did too. And then, of course, we flew. We were birds, and loved that one as well. And then, of course, we went and we came back. And then yesterday we were out and about in the night market. Yes, for night market rescue. So thank you for joining in. And then today we do have a life of service, and this one is the story of Senator Tammy Duckworth. Thank you so much for joining in today. I hope you've enjoyed that, and I hope that today's story is a good one for you as well. Inspiring one, lots to talk about. Thank you so much for joining in. And of course, too, remember that on June 3rd, we will be at Children's Fairyland for the Children's Book Festival. So excited for this one. It is coming up really fast. So get ready to be there with us. Of course, if you're somewhere close by, and if not, just let your friends know where we'll be on June 3rd so they can come on out and have fun with us. Thank you so much for joining in today. And as always, would love to know where you are. Would love to know how it is where you are. Out here in the Bay, out here in Oakland today, it will start off cold. Jackets will be needed in the morning, but then as the day goes, that sun will burn away some of that fog, and it will get warmer and warmer. So yeah, by end of day today, those jackets will be off. So time to actually just a reminder for you kids, please remember to put your name on your jacket, or indeed to put it in your backpack when you're done with it at the end of the day, so you do not forget it at school. I've worked at enough schools to see the amount of jackets in the lost and found at most of these schools, just because people have forgotten. It gets warm, they put the jacket down and forget about it, and then forget to check back. So just check there. And parents too, when you're able at pickup, if you're in a regular school at pickup, just go and check those lost and found spaces. You might just find that jacket you've been missing a long time. Thank you so much for joining in today. Excited to bring you this wonderful book, and of course to share this story of Tammy Duckworth, Senator Tammy Duckworth. And this one is written by CHRISTINA, and illustrations are by DOW, PHUMIRUK. and we're reading this one with permission of the publishers, Candlewick Press. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Absolutely love it. It is a little bit of a long book, so we'll try and get started very, very shortly, so we can get through in time. Thank you so much for joining in. Good morning to you today. How are you doing, Ari? And of course, Megan out there in Kentucky. And you say it is sunny out there today. Oh, I love it. Sunny and warm out there in Kentucky. Thank you so much for joining in. Hugs to you. I am so glad you're here with us this morning. I hope that you enjoy the story that we have for you today. Thank you for being here with us, Ari and Megan, out there in sunny and warm Kentucky. Thank you so much for joining us on Storytime. Good morning to you. How are you doing, Erin and Clara, out in gorgeous Massachusetts? Well, thank you so much for joining in. Erin went for a walk in the wood with her daddy this morning, and the bird song was a symphony. Oh my goodness, that sounds amazing. I am so jealous of you right now, but I am also so glad you got to do that this morning. Hope everyone has a wonderful day. Well, thank you so much. We hope that you have a wonderful day too. And by the sounds of it, it seems like it is already off to a good start. Thank you so much for joining in. May it continue on that trajectory. Thank you so much for being here with us, Erin, Clara, and of course, Tara McNamara, thank you so much for joining in Storytime, and absolutely appreciate you being here with us this morning. Thank you for taking the time to be here with us on Storytime. Thank you so much for joining us. Sarah and Nathan, good morning to you. How are you doing today? Thank you so much for joining us. And of course, Amanda West as well. And you say, Happy Friday. Well, thank you out there in bright and sunny Illinois today. Well, thank you so much for joining in. And you say, where the Senator Duckworth is in office. Oh my goodness. Please share away all those other things that we will not hear today. Thank you so much for sharing. Definitely sharing that part. We're so excited for today's book. Senator Duckworth's office helped some friends when they had to leave Afghanistan and move to the US last year. Oh, thank you for that story, for those connections. And you know, sometimes for it happens quite a bit. You know, we read books and it can at times seem far removed because you're just reading the story and reading about it. The experience is not quite the same as that personal story or that personal relation that is there. So thank you so much for sharing that, and we are excited to share this story here today. Thank you so much for that extra bit that you've given us there, Nathan and Sarah, and of course Amanda West. Thank you so much. All right, get ready, please, get comfortable, get cozy, but we'll be starting our story very shortly. Good morning to you. How are you doing today, Soraya? And of course, Sharon Lungo right here in Oakland. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. I hope you're well, and I hope that your day is a beautiful one. I think like Nathan and Sarah said, well, happy Friday to you. Yes, indeed. We hope that you do have a wonderful day this morning. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Good morning to you one more time today. How are you doing? Thank you so much for joining in. Braylon, Chad, Auntie Ann, and Auntie Pam out there in Natchitoches, Louisiana. Thank you so much for being here with us. Absolutely love it. Please get ready, get comfortable as we're getting started with our story for today. A life of service, the story of Senator Tammy Duckworth. And this one is written by CHRISTINA SOONTORNVAT and illustrations by DOW. And we're reading this one with permission of the publishers, Candlewick Press. Join me on the other side of this short break when we're back for more story time. Thank you so much for joining in. Absolutely love it. Here we go. I'll catch you on the other side of this short message.
Hi, everyone. My name is Amanda Davis. I am the author of Moonlight Memories.
Hi, my name is Michelle Jing Chan, and I'm the illustrator for Moonlight Memories.
Moonlight Memories releases on June 13th with Worthy Kids # Book Group.
The story follows a young girl named Piper who is dealing with grief after losing her mom. Her dad gifts her a telescope, and she begins to use this to see patterns in the stars, which she transforms into sketches and drawings of memories with her mom. Through this story, Piper learns how to find healing and to process her emotions through the beauty of creativity and the arts.
And the text was inspired by my own personal experience with the loss of my father when I was young. I used art and writing as a tool to help process and heal. And I didn't know it at the time, but it was providing me with comfort and still does to this day, comfort and healing and calm.
For the illustrations, I also drew upon my own experiences with grief and the experience of losing my grandmother. I was really drawn to the whimsical language Amanda uses in the manuscript and how she's able to portray difficult emotions such as grief in such a beautiful and whimsical way.
And we are so excited to be coming to Storytime with Mr. LaMotta on June 15th. We can't wait to see you there and talk more about the book. So we will see you then. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you indeed. They're coming to Storytime, Amanda Davis and Michelle Jing Chan. Yes, so get excited for that wonderful book, Moonlight Memories. It will be here on Storytime, and they'll be here on June 15th. So get ready for that one. But of course, today we do have another amazing book, another amazing story, and I think of course, the synopsis just puts it right. It says, discover the inspirational and barrier-breaking life of Senator Tammy Duckworth in this tribute to an extraordinary woman. Well, let's read more and find out. And good morning to you. Oh, out here it is starting off cold and then warms up as the day goes on. So yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for asking, Pamela Courtney. I heard your voice coming from the living room. The kinfolk were prepared. I wasn't. Well, you're here, Auntie Pam. You're here. Thank you so much. Looking forward to today's great read. Well, this is a beautiful one indeed. I love it, and I hope that we enjoy it as we also will be I'm pretty sure inspired. Here we go. And the dedication, I just have to read this one. It's so beautiful too, like just so much to ponder. With gratitude for the U.S. military and their families, both those who have served in the past and those who serve today. A Life of Service, a story of Senator Tammy Duckworth, written by CHRISTINA SOONTORNVAT and illustrations by DOW PHUMIRUK. And we're reading this one with permission of the publishers, CANDLEWICK Press. Even before she touched American soil, Ladda Tammy Duckworth knew that she would someday serve her country. Born in Bangkok, Thailand, Tammy is an American citizen who grew up traveling all over Southeast Asia with her family. Tammy's childhood was full of love and laughter, learning at school, joking with friends, going to Girl Scout meetings. But Tammy knew that not all kids had such carefree lives. But Tammy knew that not all kids had such carefree lives. Tammy's father worked for the United Nations, and his job meant that the family was never far from the echoes of war. When she was 7 years old, Tammy sat on the rooftop watching bombs fall over Cambodia's capital city as her family waited to be evacuated. Tammy's father taught her how to trace the lights streaming across the sky so that she wouldn't be afraid. Imagine that. One of Tammy's father's jobs was delivering aid to refugees who were fleeing violence in their home countries. When Tammy visited refugee camps with him, she met people who had lost almost everything. Many of the refugees hoped to start a new life in the United States. Even though the US had just lost a war in the region, for many people, America still represented freedom, democracy, and opportunity. Tammy realized that her country's true power came from not from its military might, but from the ideals it had been founded upon. Filled with the pride for a homeland she had yet to see, Tammy dreamed that one day she would be like the aid workers she met in the camps, serving America by helping those in need. But before Tammy could go after her dream, her own family was struck by a hardship. Her father lost his job, and the family used the last of their savings to move to Hawaii. With her father out of work, they hovered on the edge of homelessness and relied on food stamps to buy groceries. On most days, the only food Tammy could count on was her school's reduced price meals. Tammy's father would go without eating so that she would have the money to buy food at school. She would save her lunch and bring it home so that she could have something to eat. At one point, Tammy was the only one in the family working. She sold flowers by the side of the road with a plastic bucket. Even with all the pressures of keeping her family fed, Tammy was determined to soar at school. She played sports and ran on the track team. She studied during her lunch breaks and late into the night. By the time she graduated from high school, she was near the top of her class. Finally, all her relentless hard work had paid off. Her future was wide open. As she headed off to college and then to graduate school, Tammy still knew she wanted to serve her country. She just hadn't figured out the best way to do it yet. What would you do? Many of Tammy's classmates were veterans, and they encouraged Tammy to join the Reserve Officers Training Corps. When Tammy went to her first ROTC class, something clicked. She loved the bonds of trust that she built with the other cadets. When there was a victory, it belonged to all of them. When things were tough, they were tough for everyone. When soldiers put on their uniforms, they were a unit sworn to defend the Constitution and their country. All that discipline and hard work she had put into school could now go towards something much bigger than herself. At last, here was a way to serve, and it felt right. At the time, the only combat positions open to women were in aviation, and Tammy had her heart set on flying Black Hawk helicopters. In flight school, Tammy logged 3 extra hours in the flight simulator each night, more than any other student in her class. When she returned to her unit, she was promoted to first lieutenant and then became commander of Company B of the 106th Aviation Unit of the Illinois Army National Guard. Tammy fell in love with a soldier named Brian Bosby. They married and began to build a new life together. She had led her unit for 3 years and was gliding toward a happy future when America declared war in Iraq. Lots of life changes there, huh? Tammy disagreed with the US decision to invade Iraq, and her time as a unit commander was up. Even so, she begged her battalion commander to let her stay with her company. If they were going into battle, she needed to be right there with them. Her request was granted, and Tammy accompanied her unit to their base in Balad, Iraq. Tammy was a battle captain, planning and organizing helicopter missions. She lived for the days when she got to fly helicopters. She loved the feeling of speed and the power of sitting behind the controls of such a massive machine. November 12th, 2004 started out as a great day. Tammy and her crew had been flying all day, picking up soldiers and delivering supplies. They had just picked up their last passenger and were 15 minutes from their base when Tammy heard the tap, tap, tap of gunfire. Seconds later, a rocket-propelled grenade slammed into the helicopter. A fireball burst through the aircraft. Black smoke filled the cockpit. Tammy called out to her crew, but no one responded. She gripped the controls, trying to land, but her foot pedals wouldn't work. Something was wrong. She had to land. She had to get her crew to safety, and then everything went black. Tammy's pilot in command, Chief Warrant Officer Dan Milberg, had been on the controls when they were hit, and he managed to land the aircraft. A second Black Hawk helicopter, not far behind, landed nearby to help rescue Tammy's crew. Dan and the other soldiers hurried to drag the injured out of the smoking wreckage. When Dan saw Tammy, he was sure she was dead. But even under the threat of enemy fire, he would not leave her body behind. Sergeant Chris Fierce lay beside Tammy in the rescue helicopter as it sped back to base. He had been severely wounded, and they needed to get him treated fast. Chris looked at Tammy's body and noticed something, a faint fluttering sign of life. Could it be possible that she had survived? Chris was in tremendous pain, but when they landed, he shouted to the medics that they must treat Tammy first. Tammy received the critical care she needed to live. But when she woke, her life would never be the same. The grenade blast had destroyed both of her legs. It nearly destroyed her right arm. When she first arrived at the hospital, Tammy's body rejected the pain medications the doctors gave her, and the agony of her injuries was overwhelming. She lived in a dark cloud of unending pain that rolled over her body again and again. Surgeon First Class Juanita Wilson, a recovering arm amputee at the hospital, came to Tammy's room. Juanita understood how bad the pain was, and she knew that Tammy could make it out the other side. Together, the women used the clock on the wall to count through the seconds. When they got to 60, they began again. For 5 days, Juanita stood at Tammy's bedside, helping her live through 1 minute at a time, 1 hour at a time, and then one more. Once the pain became more bearable, Tammy had to relearn how to eat, how to bathe. It took all her strength just to sit up. After months of treatment, she was determined to learn to walk again. The doctors fit Tammy with prosthetic legs. Her right leg was gone all the way to the hip, and controlling her new prosthetic was like balancing on the end of a broomstick. Each day was a battle against gravity, inch by inch, falling, getting up, falling again and again. Get back up, keep fighting. Tammy battered through her recovery, strengthening her right arm and learning how to use her new prosthetic legs. Her ultimate goal was to get in shape so she could return to combat. But life had a different trajectory in store. Tammy was the highest ranking amputee in the hospital, so other soldiers often came to her asking for help getting the health care they needed. Tammy kept busy making calls to elected officials on their behalf, demanding the US give veterans the respect and treatment they deserve. Then, one day, she got a call of her own. A senator from her home state of Illinois urged Tammy to consider serving in a different way by running for the US House of Representatives. He told her that who understood the realities and risks of he told her that Congress could use more leaders with military service who understood the realities and risks of war. This was a big decision. It would mean that Tammy might never return to fight alongside her fellow soldiers. But maybe this was a way that she could still fight for her country. Good to know, Harry. The day after she checked out of the hospital, Tammy announced that she would run for the US House of Representatives. She was grateful for all the work she had put into getting her body battle ready, because the campaign was relentless. She had searing phantom pains on the bottom of her missing feet. She had to walk, stand, and talk hour after hour, day after day. As hard as she worked, she still lost that race. But by then, Tammy knew how much the people of Illinois needed her. There were too many families without health care, too many people living in poverty. She couldn't give up on them. She decided to try again, and this time she won her House race. A few years later, Tammy decided to run for the Senate. Her opponent in that race mocked her when she stated that her ancestors had served in the military, going all the way back to the American Revolution. To him, it was impossible that someone with Tammy's Thai heritage could also descend from a long line of American heroes. Tammy's response to his racism was to defeat him soundly. She would not let someone else's ignorance hold her back. When Tammy was sworn in as a senator, she racked up a long string of firsts. And as you can see from the newspaper, the headlines there: first female amputee to serve in Congress, first woman with a disability to serve in Congress, first senator to give birth while in office, and so much more. First Thai American woman to serve in Congress. The birth of her second daughter brought another milestone. In 2018, Tammy pushed the US Senate to change the chamber rules to allow her to bring her 10-day-old baby onto the floor so that Tammy could cast her vote. Senator Duckworth continues to break barriers and defy expectations. Her crew risked their lives to give her a second chance. She doesn't plan on wasting one single moment. As a proud veteran, Tammy has spoken out against rushing to war. She has pushed for the US to do more to help refugees. She has fought for equal rights for women and transgender people in the military. She has worked to protect the rights of people with disabilities. And Tammy has never stopped fighting for the care and dignity of America's veterans. Throughout her career, she has put her body, her voice, and her heart into the service of her country. Service has given Tammy the chance to soar. She wants everyone to have that chance. Together, there is more work to do. Tammy's country still needs her, and she plans to keep fighting. And that is the end of our story. And there's a lot more back here too. Some of it talking about Tammy Duckworth's legacy of service, and some of the things with work with military and veterans, disability rights, families. And if you have an opportunity and get this book from the local library, please do check out the back for more information. And of course, a timeline of some of the big events in Tammy's life, or Senator Duckworth's life. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime today. Absolutely appreciate you. And I think I just have to go back to the dedication while we catch our breath after that. Just amazing book. And it says, with gratitude for the US military and their families, both those who have served in the past and those who serve today. And that is the dedication from CHRISTINA, SOONTORNVAT, and PHUMIRUK, the author and illustrators of this wonderful book. And of course, we're reading it with permission of the publishers, CANDLEWICK Press. I'll catch you on the other side of this short break when we're back for more Storytime chat. Thank you so much for being here with us today on Storytime.
Hi, I'm Charlotte Chang, co-author of Bobo Loves Dumplings, Bobo's Colorful Chinese New Year, and Night Market Rescue. And this is Storytime with Mr. Lamada.
Welcome back. Thank you indeed for joining in Storytime. And I hope that we enjoyed that story. I hope that we've been left inspired, and so just seeing, learning a little bit more of the life of Senator Tammy Duckworth, depending on what we knew. And of course, we'll continue to learn, right? We learn every single day. So thank you so much for joining in. And of course, to Sarah and Nathan and Amanda West, thank you for sharing all that extra bits as well out there in Senator Duckworth's region. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime today. Absolutely appreciate you. And this has been Storytime for this week. This has been Storytime for today, and we continue to celebrate Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Here we're back again next week with more stories. Please share any more recommendations that you have that you would like to see here on Storytime that we can learn from, and of course that we can enjoy here together as well. Thank you so much for joining in. Happy Friday to each and every one of you. And of course, Ari, thank you so much for the love. Appreciate you, and I hope that you have a wonderful rest of the day out there in Kentucky. Happy Friday to you, and thank you so much for joining in. Pamela, Courtney, thank you for being here. Of course, Braylon, Chad, and Auntie Ann as well. Thank you so much for joining us out there in Nakitosh, Louisiana. Thank you so much for joining in today. Absolutely appreciate you. Sharon Lungo, and of course Soraya joining us from right here in Oakland. thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed the story. And of course, I hope that you have a wonderful Friday, wonderful rest of the day. Thank you so much for joining us on Storytime. One more time, thank you for joining in, Sarah and Nathan, Amanda. Thank you out there in bright and sunny Illinois. You say where Senator Duckworth's office is. And of course, you're so excited for today's book. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you can find it at your local library as well and continue to read some more. Senator Duckworth's office helped some friends when they had to leave Afghanistan and move to the US last year. Thank you, Senator Duckworth, for all the work that you're doing, and may you continue to inspire and touch so many lives. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Absolutely appreciate you. Erin and Clara out there in gorgeous Massachusetts, thank you for being here with us. And of course, Tara McNamara as well. Thank you so much for joining us on Storytime today. Please have yourselves a wonderful day. And yes, may the birds continue to sing. Beautiful symphony out there where you are. Thank you so much for joining in today. Absolutely appreciate you. And in Kentucky, today is sunny and warm. Thank you so much for being here with us on Storytime. This has been our book for today, A Life of Service, the story of Senator Tammy Duckworth. And this one is written by CHRISTINA SOONTORNVAT and illustrations by DOW PHUMIRUK. And of course, we read this one with permission of the publishers, CANDLEWICK Press. I am actually impressed with the time we made on this book. When I was practicing it, the times I've gone through, maybe I was going back a few times and I thought would go much longer, but I hope I wasn't moving too quickly. I hope the story was landing on you, and also you were able to see the illustrations as we went too, not too fast. Thank you so much for joining in, and absolutely appreciate you. Hugs to you today. Taking a breath from reading that book, and just realizing too just how much people put in the work. At times, it's so easy, especially with politicians and people in politics. It's so easy sometimes to just put a broad stroke on everybody and just think, what are you doing? And think of maybe what they are not doing, but to see so much that is being done, to appreciate that, and also to continue supporting and encouraging people like this. Thank you so much for joining in. And of course, too, as always, thank you for giving me a space to process as we read such inspirational people. And of course, as we continue to learn together. I'm always learning, and I hope that this journey of learning together continues. Thank you so much for being here. Please remember, too, that we do have a wonderful event coming up at the Children's Fairyland, and this will be the Children's Book Festival on June 3rd. So come on out and join us. Come on out and have fun with us. We'll be there. And of course, if you cannot be with us in person, let your friends know. Let your friends to tell their friends to tell their friends that we will be at Children's Fairyland on June 3rd. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime today, friends. Absolutely appreciate you. I'll see you again next week when we're back with more exciting Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month books, so at least as we commemorate and celebrate, but also we're back Storytime, learning together, and of course being here and just enjoying wonderful books together. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you next week when we're back for more Storytime. Please have yourselves a wonderful Friday. Have yourselves a wonderful weekend, and looking forward to being back here together on Monday. Much love from me. Hugs to each and every one of you, and I will see you on Monday. And as we learned this week, I will go and come back. Bye-bye.
Story time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. all the reading. I just can't wait to be hearing story time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be hearing. Brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be